All right, this is going to be AP Calculus Self-Check 4.3. These are going to be the solutions. Again, make sure that we have 10 minutes to solve this one because there were 5 problems, 2 minutes apiece. All right, so number 1, let f be a function defined by this thing. Which of the following is an equation of the line tangent to the graph? Don't know what's going on.
Wait.
Okay, so line tangent, what does that mean? It means f prime?
Yeah.
Okay, so f prime of x is what? Help me out.
12x squared minus 5.
Perfect. And we need tangent to the graph at f at the point where x equals -1. All right, so what are we going to do here?
Do we plug in -1?
If we plug in -1, we're just going to get an answer for what the slope is at -1. So that might help us. It probably will help us. So if I plug in -1, can you regurgitate what I just said to us? What happens when I plug in -1? What does this mean? F prime.
Get f prime of -1.
Yeah, but what is that?
The slope at -1.
Exactly. So if we need to find an equation for the line tangent to the graph at this point, then we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. This will give us the slope. So when we plug in -1, we get 12 times -1 quantity squared minus 5. That's going to be 12 minus 5, and that turns into 7. So this was our slope. All right, and what's the general form of our equation?
That thing up there. I don't know. Oh wait, it's that equation like y minus y
I
equals
totally
slope
forgot about that.
times x minus x.
X minus, yeah, something there. Yep, we need to memorize that one. All right, we just found 7. We found this point. It goes in there. We know x equals -1, so we can put this -1
So we need to find y.
goes into there. Exactly, we need to find y. How are we going to find y?
So now, I don't know. No. Excuse me, sorry.
Who else can help us out? How do we find y? So far we have y minus something is equal to 7 times x minus -1.
Oh, maybe we plug in 0 for x?
Why are we plugging in 0 for x?
Or plug in 7.
Why are we plugging in 7? You have to have it.
Oh wait, I got it.
I'm not asking you because you're wrong. I'm asking you because I want you to explain.
You could just plug in f of -1, and that would be your y-intercept. And then plug it in to find the x-intercept.
Oh, so instead of taking the derivative?
So I think you have the right idea. You're just saying it wrong. If you plug in -1, it's not going to find the y-intercept. The y-intercept is always where x equals 0. But if you plug in -1, you will get a y value out of this function. So without taking the derivative, let's just plug it into f of x. So f of 1. And
-1?
sorry, yes, -1.
What?
-1
Damn, so sassy.
is equal to
-1?
4 times -1 cubed minus 5 times -1 plus 3. All right, -1 cubed is
-1.
-1. So this is going to be -4. Then what is going to be here?
5.
Plus 5 plus 3. And this is all going to become
4.
4. All right, and that is our y value. The y value at -1. So you can say y equals this, y equals 4. And I have y minus 4 now. Okay, now I need to get it into mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. So what am I going to do here?
Add the 4 to the other side.
Okay, so y is equal to, and I'm also going to distribute the 7.
7x plus 7 equal minus plus 4.
Plus 4, yep. So correct answer here is C. All right, number 2. The function f is twice differentiable, so we can take the derivative twice.
got it right too.
And it gives us all this information. What is the value of the approximation of f of 1.9 using the line tangent to the graph of f at x equals 2? So again, what's that general form? Carly had it last time, so someone knew.
Y minus y slope?
What?
Y minus,
The y-intercept
What were you
equals slope
it's not necessarily the y-intercept, it's just the y coordinate, equals slope
times x.
minus the x coordinate, yeah. All right. So we need to find this equation, and it's giving us a bunch of information here.
No.
So what are we going to do?
So 2 is our x coordinate.
Yeah, that's our x coordinate right there. So we can plug in, I'll write it in red here. So we can plug in 2. What else do we know?
Then we know that 1 is our y coordinate.
Perfect.
So we can plug in 1.
Yep.
And then we know our slope is 4, so we can plug in 4.
Yeah, so f prime is wherever the slope is. So this is, I should write m. That's our slope right there. So that's 4. And we have our equation. So
And
yeah, so wherever f prime is, that's our slope. So our slope, and right, you remember y equals mx plus b.
okay, I remember. Never mind.
So that's where I use m. Yeah, it kind of seemed random if you don't have that context. All right, so adding the 1 to the other side and distributing makes our equation y equals
4x minus 8 plus 4.
perfect. I'm going to pause there and make sure everyone followed
Wait,
that.
how did you get? Sorry, I kind of missed that. How did you get that?
Yep, someone else
You
explain.
want it into y equals mx plus b form.
Yeah, it'll make it go a little bit faster. You could just plug it into this equation. You could plug in 1.9 and you could get your number out. You'll have to do the same operations here. We're just kind of getting the operations done beforehand. Therefore, y is equal to 4x minus 7. And now I can plug in, it's saying now we need to actually find this 1.9, and maybe I should do this in a different color here. This 1.9 needs to be plugged into that tangent line to get an
Are we
approximation.
going to be able to use calculators?
This one is a non-calculator question.
Okay, just to let you know.
Because if it was a calculator question, it would be really easy to do. As long as you knew how to use a calculator.
In your test, can we use calculators?
On the test, there's the second part of the first section where you do use a calculator, or maybe, I think it's the second part. And yeah, it's 15 questions, 45 minutes.
No, but in our test that's coming up.
No, no calculators.
It's going to take me 10 hours.
All right, and I'm realizing in retrospect it might actually be easier to plug into this equation, but let's just go ahead and do, because 1.9 times 4 is a lot harder than negative 0.1 times 4.
Well, I remember we used to just plug it in with that.
Can we just plug it in?
Yeah, we used to just put it in at that point.
Okay, let's make the eraser mega.
And let me just make my eraser real quick.
So if we plugged in our 1.9 here for our x, so that's going to be minus 2 times 4 is equal to, and we can add on the 1 too. We can still say it's y plus 1. We moved the 1 over and we plugged in 1.9. All right, so this is going to be y is equal to 4 times
0.1.
negative 0.1
Negative 0.1.
plus 1. And then 4 times negative 0.1 is
Negative
negative 0.4 plus 1. Therefore, y is equal to
0.6.
0.6. There it is, B. All right, and number 3. All right, so if this is the equation, then we need to find dy dx, and it gives us a certain point. All right, so what do we do?
Oh my goodness.
What does dy dx mean? What's another name for this?
Derivative.
Derivative, yeah, derivative of y. So y, why does it always do that? Y prime. So we need to find the derivative. So derivative of this guy, help me out, girls.
2y y prime minus 2x y prime.
Okay, we have to be careful here.
Y prime. Wait.
This is product rule.
Oh,
So
2x,
Y prime.
y prime.
I said that.
Yeah, you said that.
Okay.
Minus 2y.
There we go.
I said. That's probably wrong.
Oh yeah, and you distribute the negatives correct too.
What
Okay.
the heck, Mr. Sindel?
Sorry, Carly. Yeah, you got it.
It's fine.
Equals what?
0.
Perfect. All right, what do we do next?
Plug in.
Yeah, so when we plug in 2 and negative 3, that's going to give us 2 times negative 3 y prime minus 2 times 2 y prime
Yeah.
minus 2 times negative 3.
That was cute.
All right, and yeah, so this is going to be negative 6 y prime minus 4 y prime, my computer's lagging here, plus 6 is equal to 0. And therefore I have a negative 10 y prime is equal to a negative 6. And therefore y prime is equal to 6 over 10, which simplifies to,
3/5.
I don't know why I wrote 2/5, but yes, 3/5.
I did everything right except I didn't distribute the negative at the beginning, so I got negative 3/5.
Darn. All right, number 4. All right, this is our equation. dy dx, again, this is just finding y prime. Someone do this for us.
So
2x,
Plus x y prime
okay, I don't know what's going on. X, y prime, yep.
times y.
I said plus y.
Or
Plus
yeah,
y.
sorry, plus y. Plus 3y y prime.
Zero.
Yep.
Zero.
Wait,
All right.
I got 3y squared.
Me too.
Ooh, yeah, it is 3y squared.
Okay.
Because it goes down one power, or one number for the power
Oh, right.
house. All right, so finally, I need to get my y primes by themselves, so what am I going to do here?
Subtract 2x. Subtract y.
So I have
Oh my god.
minus 2x and minus y on that side, and on this side, do you want to factor out at the same time to just save some work?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, so I'm factoring out a y prime, and what's left on the inside?
X plus 3y squared.
X plus 3y squared. All right, and therefore, y prime is equal to that negative 2x minus y. All of that divided by whatever this was, and that's x plus 3y squared. So negative 2x. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you can do this a few different ways. We can factor out a negative on the top. So if I factor out a negative, that's going to be a negative, and then on the inside I have a 2x plus y, and then an x
So it would be 8.
3y squared.
Yeah.
Looks like A, yeah.
Hey, I guess it right.
All right, very nice. And let's go to number 5.
Wait.
Imagine that's a freckles with,
Sorry.
like, little like lines on your face.
People, well, not little ones, but people have been adding freckles in.
Yeah, like the little like tattoo.
Yeah, like, why would you want to get fake freckles?
Oh, so you distributed the negative on the top?
I feel like it's
Yeah, I factored out the negative on the top
Right here?
Disgusting.
Ooh, that's
and left it on the outside.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
All right, and number 5.
yeah.
You-
All right, ooh, this is a fun one. All right, so an equation of the line tangent. So tangent line, default equation is, it always does this,
Wiggle.
y minus y coordinate is equal to slope times x minus x coordinate. X minus x coordinate.
Okay.
Sorry?
Wait, so how do we know when to use that equation, Mr. Smith?
Line tangent and equation. So if you're finding the equation of a line tangent, you automatically think of this. All right, so what do we want to find first? Because we don't have any of these. We don't have the y coordinate, we don't have the x coordinate, and we don't have the slope. What to do? Do you want to find an x coordinate or a y coordinate first, or do we want to find the slope first? It's one or the other.
We can find a y or x coordinate first.
Okay, so the y or x coordinate comes from this, the point of inflection. So where does that point of inflection happen?
Where it crosses the x-axis,
Where what crosses the x-axis?
the equation.
Not quite, but you're really close. What
Y-intercept.
what test does inflection point come from?
The double prime test.
Yeah, this is f double prime. So we need to take the derivative twice. So y prime is equal to what?
3x squared plus 6x.
Okay, and then y double prime,
6x plus 6.
6x plus 6.
Why do you write your x's like that?
I'm trying to write them fancier. They're a little bit curlier.
Okay.
If you guys want to be fancy, you can do your x's like mine. In fact, I think they should both curl, so maybe a curled C like that. I don't know.
Whoa.
Okay.
Wait, got it. Okay.
All right, so then where? Okay, so f double prime is the test. So what is the definition of inflection point?
When it equals 0 or when the sign change?
Good question. Which one?
Sign change.
Sign change.
Sign change. And the only possibility of a sign change is where it's set equal to 0. So setting this equal to 0, 6x plus 6, and therefore x is equal to what?
1.
Close.
Negative 1.
Negative 1, yeah.
How do you know it's gonna have a sign change where y prime double prime equals 0?
It might have a sign change there. It'll have a sign change there if this power is an odd. And it is an odd. So this is the inflection point. So we have our x coordinate. We can plug that in.
Now we can plug it into our equation.
So negative 1 goes right there. But we need to find the y
Wait,
coordinate.
which equation do you want to... How do you know which equation to plug in?
This is always the equation of the line tangent. Always use this.
Okay.
All right?
But to find y, we would plug it into the equation up there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the x coordinate. Plug it into this equation and you'll find y. So I'm just going to rewrite that equation here. So it's going to be y is equal to that x cubed plus 3x squared plus 2. And we know that that x is negative 1. So negative 1, negative 1. Okay, negative 1 cubed is, shout it out,
Negative 1.
3 times negative 1 squared.
2.
Therefore, the y coordinate is equal to,
Wait, how did you get the y coordinate?
You just plug it into the
Oh.
I'm plugging in x into the original equation.
Okay.
And I got my y coordinate of 4. How do I find slope?
No. Oh my god, it's like
You could just
It's
plug
such
both
a-
of those into y prime.
You can't plug the y coordinate into y prime, but you can plug in the x into y prime. So if I plug in this, this x coordinate, negative 1, into y prime, I will get the derivative at negative 1, which is the slope at negative 1. So plugging in negative 1 into y prime, we have,
Yep.
I'm going to do down here. So y prime, this is equal to, 3 times negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1. Therefore, y prime is equal to, do a bunch of mental math, go.
Negative 3. Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Minus 6. Oh, what?
Or it's positive 3 minus 6, which is negative 3. Yeah, we skipped a few steps. So our equation was
You're just behind it.
y minus 4 is equal to negative 3 times x minus 1.
Wait, I thought it was x
And then
minus... Oh, sorry.
X minus negative 1, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Point. No.
Vicious with those points. All right, and turning it into mx plus b form, because all these are in slope-intercept form. Therefore, my equation is y equals
1 second.
negative 3x
Minus 3 plus 4.
minus 3 plus 4. So
Plus 3. No, just kidding. It's minus 3.
oh yeah, sorry. If it's a minus, I'll just write this all out. It's minus 3 plus 4. Oh my gosh. The computer can't keep track of my pen movements. I write too fast. So therefore, y is equal to negative
3x plus 1.
3x plus 1.
I got it right.
There it is.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
All right. So that concludes Self Check 4.3.